Today we'll be reviewing the Holiday Inn Medica Sur in Mexico City, where we stayed recently for Antonieta's surgery. We'll be covering that on another video. But for now, let's focus on the Holiday Inn Medica Sur. Welcome back to ANF Beyond. I'm Francisco.
I'm Antonieta.
If you're considering a stay here, either for medical reasons or if you just happen to be in the southern part of Mexico City, keep watching.
The hotel is conveniently located right next to the Medica Sur Hospital, which made it really convenient for us during my surgery. But was it comfortable, quiet, and worth the price?
We arrived 2 nights before Antonieta's surgery. The front desk staff was friendly and efficient, and the check-in process went smoothly. They provided all the information that we needed for our stay.
One thing that we really appreciated was that this hotel caters to people who are going to have surgery at Medica Sur, at the hospital right next door, or to family members or friends or relatives that are going to be accompanying them. For someone who is going to be recovering as well, it's a great place to stay because its proximity to the hospital is so close. You can tell that they're used to accommodating guests who are dealing with medical procedures, so they were quite understanding and helpful.
After we settled into our room, things did not go as planned. There was
No, they didn't.
There was some loud music going on that started, it seems like right at 7 p.m. You know, if you're gonna be there for a procedure, whether it's before or after, the last thing you want to deal with is banging music from the surrounding area.
It was not a relaxing atmosphere and it wasn't conducive to getting a good night's sleep. So we immediately knew once the music started that we were going to have to move to another room.
So I went back to the front desk. At first, the person at the front desk did not seem to want to help very much.
Was this the guy that was there in the daytime also, or was this the night guy?
It was the daytime guy.
It was the daytime guy, and he was not very accommodating at all. We'll keep going with the story, but it became a recurring theme with this employee.
Right, so anytime we needed something and I went to the front desk and I saw him, I would just turn around, go back and wait for the shift to change.
Yeah.
Because the other guy was actually really helpful.
Really helpful. And I feel like maybe the first guy just wasn't trained properly, so he said no to everything because he just didn't know. He
at first insinuated that they were sold out and there were no rooms available. I explained the situation, that we were there prior to Antonieta's surgery, and then somehow miraculously there were 2 rooms for us to look at. One of the rooms was actually quite bigger than the one we had, but it smelled really bad of cigarettes, and I went back to the front desk and I said, hey, you know, it really smells bad. And
which they're non-smoking rooms, by the way. They're not supposed to smell like smoke.
And he said, what? No, that's impossible. Our cleaning staff always goes in there, and if there's any kind of bad aromas, they spray and they take care of it.
Yeah, but spray doesn't cover cigarette smell.
No.
It just smells like spray on top of cigarettes.
Yeah. He had another room that was actually a smaller category than what we had paid for. And I said, that's okay, just show it to us. And when I saw it, it actually turned out to be almost the same size as what we had. The only thing that it didn't have was this little nook on the side
that we weren't going to use anyway.
Yeah. So we took that room and made the move.
That nook that we lost had a chair and a broken lamp.
This hotel has seen better days for sure.
Yeah, I think because they're busy all the time, because of the hospital, they don't put any effort into maintaining it because they don't have to put any money into it.
Yeah, they have a captive audience, I would say. It's similar to if you go to a touristy area and you go to the restaurants surrounding the touristy area, and they might not be the best, but they're always packed.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that.
Kind of like that. So it wasn't the ideal situation. I didn't really want to have to move to another room after I had unpacked all of my stuff and kind of try to settle in for the night. But the staff did try as much as they could to accommodate us. If you're sensitive to noise or smoke smell, it's something to consider.
Let's talk about the room itself. It was spacious enough, although a little extra space would have been nice. This room is number 530, right here. The room that we were checked into originally was 514. As you first enter the room, you get a closet with an iron and an ironing board. On the other side is a safe and plenty of room for putting away your close if you choose to. Now this room, we've already slept in it, and so it's a little bit messy, but this is basically what you get for a standard king size room, which is, I suppose, plenty big. It would be nicer if it was a little bit bigger, but it was fine for us. The right side of the bed does not get any plugs, unfortunately. The other side does. You get 2 plugs there for your electronics. Comfortable pillows, nice and soft. And over here we get another closet, room to hang some things. We're still dealing with face masks because we are in the hospital, and the hospital still requires the use of face masks here. Plenty of room for more storage. Drawers, space for shoes and things like that. Television, a couple more drawers here, more outlets. A stereo that we did not use, an ice bucket, and water. We get complimentary water. All you need to do to get water at these places, this is an IHG hotel. It's a Holiday Inn, part of the IHG network. Just become a member and they'll give you free water during your stay. And they say free Wi-Fi, but I think Wi-Fi is included anyway. A fridge, coffee maker back there, some teas, some coffee, place to put your luggage, a chair, an alarm clock radio, that's unplugged. Not sure if it's working or not. We never used it since we have our phones. And then this is the view that we get from this room. That's the high school down there. Looks like it's very quiet. There is a basketball court right here. So I'm sure at some point it could get a little noisy. There was a desk, which is convenient if you want to get some work done, or what we used the desk for was to lay out all the medications that we had to buy for you, all the paperwork for the hospital stay. Yeah. The bed was comfortable enough. It was big. It was a king size bed. And we actually came back after surgery and stayed in a different room that had 2 queens, so that you would have extra space to...
Yeah, I wanted my own bed so that I could sleep and recover.
The mattress was nice, the pillows. I like the pillows. I'm not sure what you...
I did too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was comfortable. The room could have been cleaner. I'm very picky when it comes to cleanliness, and I guess being a bed and breakfast owner for so many years, I've always strived to have really clean rooms for all of our guests. And so I hope for the same when I travel. So the room was okay. There were like handprints on the furniture and on the closet doors, which was really disappointing given the price and the location next to the hospital. You would think that it would be really spick and span, but it really wasn't. The bathroom was clean enough and had all the things that you need. There was one weird thing I thought about the hotel, was that they only gave you 2 bath towels, 1 face towel, and then 1 washcloth, which was strange because every hotel I've ever been to, you get 1 set each person. And at first I thought the first room, maybe they made a mistake, but then when we switched to the second room and saw the same exact setup, I thought, wow, why are they limiting towels? It had, you know, the toiletries, the usual toiletries, and the hot water was, you take a shower and the hot water would turn on and off.
It would fluctuate from really hot to warm, to hot to warm, without fiddling with the knobs.
Yeah, and it happened in the second room, and then it happened when we came back after the surgery too. So I think it was just the whole hotel was like that. One thing to note is that don't expect luxury. It is not a luxury hotel by any means. It's a convenient hotel, and you're paying for the convenience of being next to the hospital.
Yeah, this hotel is definitely not a resort.
No.
But it's, like you said,
convenient.
If this video is bringing some value to you, please consider subscribing, giving us a thumbs up, and hitting the notification bell to be notified every time we post a new video. We post content about living in Mexico, slow travel around the world, expat living, and what else do we do?
Hotel reviews.
Hotel reviews, transportation reviews. We're actually going to do a review for the hospital where we were for your treatment.
Yeah.
One of the biggest conveniences of this hotel, as we mentioned earlier, is its proximity to the hospital. We're less than a 3-minute walk from our room, through the lobby, down the elevator, across the bridge, and into the tower So that made it really, really convenient to go back and forth every time we had to get another prescription medication, as we were dealing with different pain thresholds that Antonieta was going through. It was also close to several restaurants that are nearby.
When the doctor needed to come and give me a visit, he just came to the room. When I needed a physical therapy appointment because I was having a lot of discomfort in my neck and back, they found the physical therapist to just come to our room. So it was very convenient for after surgery to be that close to the hospital.
I mean, we purposely chose that hotel because of that.
Yeah.
And we're really glad that we did, because
Yeah.
we actually stayed longer than our original planned stay of just a couple of days. We extended it by 2 more nights. So the pharmacies were nearby, the doctors were nearby.
Yeah, and there was 24-hour food at the hospital, restaurants. So when you needed something to eat, you would run back and forth and get us food and coffee and tea and all the things we needed.
Yeah, I think the whole time that we were there, the only couple of times that I left the campus that included all the different hospital towers and the hotel was to go get some bananas. The hotel itself does not have a restaurant, but it is associated with one of the restaurants that is located actually inside on the first floor of the hospital tower. And they do offer 24-hour room service. We didn't fully use the room service. I would always leave to go buy medication or something and then stop by the restaurant to order some food. From there, I went to the pharmacy, got the meds, went back to the hotel room, and literally about 2 minutes later, they were at the door delivering the dinners. So that was really quite nice. And there's also a Starbucks, there's a Maison Kaiser on the campus, and then there's another restaurant that does wraps.
They did wraps and sandwiches, kind of a thing.
Yeah, which was nice.
And smoothies.
Throughout our stay, with the exception of that one gentleman,
The day guy.
the staff was courteous and professional, and you know, from the front desk guys to the cleaning lady, everybody was accommodating. You can tell that they're used to dealing with people that are either undergoing procedures at the hospital or are visiting people that are staying at the hospital. I do have to give props to the cleaning lady, even though we didn't really require cleaning.
No, she never came into our room.
Yeah, she was always in the hallway, and every time I'd go out, she would say hi and offer us our daily water allotment. She actually doubled the daily water allotment one day, which was extra nice. When we checked out, there was somebody with a wheelchair that helped push Antonieta all the way out to the parking lot where the car was parked. So.
Yeah, that was really great.
So overall, the Holiday Inn and Suites Medica Sur is a good choice for those that are requiring of medical needs at the hospital.
I would not stay there
Yeah.
if I wasn't having a medical procedure or visiting someone at the hospital. I don't think it's a type of hotel that you stay at if you're going to be being a tourist in Mexico City. I wouldn't stay at this hotel. I think it's very specific to catering to people who are going to be at the hospital.
It does feel like it's within the hospital.
Yeah, it's weird
So
that way.
if you're okay with staying at hospitals during your visit
Vacation.
to Mexico City, then maybe that's all right for you.
Yeah, but I don't think so. I think pick another hotel if you're going to be in Mexico City as a tourist, and pick this hospital if you're going to have a medical procedure or you're visiting somebody at the hospital, and that's the main reason why you're there.
Would we stay here again? From my point of view, if we had to go back to the hospital again, yes.
If I was going back to that hospital for a medical procedure, yes, I would stay there the night before and book a few nights after the surgery. Would I stay there for any other reason? Probably not. If you're interested in how our recent hospital experience was, be sure to watch the next video. We'll take you through the entire week pre and post-op Medica Sur.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that.
See you in the next one.
Bye.